Welcome to the Jupiter Real Estate Market Update. This is going to cover condos and townhomes in Jupiter. This is for the period of August 2024. Data presented here will probably be most relevant to those of you considering moving to Jupiter and want to get a handle on the real estate market. Those of you that already own a property here in Jupiter and either just want to keep an eye on the overall market, or you're considering selling and really need to know what the market is doing. People just interested in the Jupiter real estate market in general, or anyone looking for a realtor in Jupiter. I'm not sure how lucky this is, but the median price of condos and townhomes in Jupiter is now $539,777. Triple sevens. My name is Casey Prindle, your Jupiter Realtor. If you've been considering buying or selling a property here around Jupiter, don't be shy. Pick up the phone, give me a call. My phone number is 786-443-7203. It's also down there in the description. Realistically speaking, honestly, call me sooner rather than later, whether you're considering buying or selling next week or next year. The longer runway that I have, the more value I can provide for you. So don't be shy, go ahead, give me a call. Kind of fun to talk to, I think. All data will come from the multiple listing service, or MLS. Even though you will see July on the chart data that we're looking at, and we're in August, the data runs about 30 days behind, just a little caveat there. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll give you some final thoughts about what I see in the overall real estate market right now. All right. Median sold price of condos and townhomes in Jupiter. Up 1.4% month over month to $539,777. Up from $510,000, look at this, year over year. For all the newspaper headlines that I've seen proclaiming the condo market in Florida dead, I don't know. Doesn't look like it to me. Doesn't look like it. So look, I wish the chart was a little bit more orderly with a lot of zigzags in here, but by and large, last 3 years, been running up and to the right. I do want to point something out within this. First of all, a lot of the problems with condos that people are talking about are older stock condos. Jupiter doesn't have a ton of those buildings. And it's also buildings that haven't done anything like milestone engineering reports. If you're considering buying a condo and you don't know what that is, you need to call me. If you're considering selling and you don't know what that is, you need to call me. But properties that have updated engineering reports and that have budgets that have been shored up, there's buyers out there for these, especially the well-located ones. And of course, the newer construction stuff isn't subject to all this. So, and neither are townhomes. So, fee simple townhomes, not condo structured townhomes. To be clear. All right. So look, bottom line is this. It's still a healthy market for condos and townhomes. Don't believe a lot of this stuff that you're reading. It's very building specific and totally sensational. Quite frankly, not really applicable. So let's move on. All right, 50 total sales. If you've watched me for any modicum of time, this is one of the slides that's super important to me, because what else matters that much outside of the number of properties that are actually selling? So let's not kid ourselves. We're not exactly on the high side of the chart here. At 50 sales year over year, let's see, I think we're down. Yeah, there we are. Down 3 sales year over year. So let's call it about flat. I am curious to see this year what the bump looks like in these months. October, November, I'm curious to see what it does. Usually the biggest run-ups, see, look here, it's February, March, April. It's usually the best season for condos and townhomes. So I think if we can come in with a strong fall and set up for a good first quarter there, I think you can see a real rebound here. And look, I'm not sure how many of you watch my single family home video that also watch my condo and townhome video, but I do want to point out this dichotomy. Single family home sales are now at $1 million in Jupiter. Here they are at $539,777 for condos and townhomes. There's a value proposition here, right? If you are a first-time home buyer and you want the space of a single family home, but you don't want a lot of the headaches with it, or quite frankly, you just can't afford the $1 million price tag, man, townhomes somewhere around this this median price range, look into them. Honestly, if you're a buyer and you come to me, that's one of the first things I'm going to talk to you about. There's a lot of value here, so don't discount that. I digress. Sorry for the rant. Let us move on. Average list to sales price ratio. Now, for the uninitiated who are new to listening to me, the higher that we are on this chart, up here, 100%, the better we are for sellers, right? Means whatever you put on the market, you are getting your price or above your price. Down here at around 95%, which is, quite frankly, towards the lower side of this chart, here's what it means. So your list to sales price is where the property was originally listed versus the price that it actually sold for. What this means when you see 97 or 95% of list to sales price is either sellers moved their price down pretty aggressively and buyers met them at the new asking price, or they were able to negotiate with one another off of the asking price. So buyers want to see us on the lower side of this chart. It means you have more room for negotiation on the whole, a little bit more wiggle room on things. Sellers don't want to see us down here on the bottom of the chart. So something to keep in mind here. We've been kind of kicking around this level. So let's see where we go, right, kids? All right, if you are looking to buy a home in Jupiter, single family home, condo, or townhome, if you're looking to purchase one, give me a call. My phone number is 786-443-7203. Easiest way to find me is just to call me. I'm fairly easy to talk to, I think. If you're too shy to call me and you want to give me a little soft push and tell me you're interested in looking at houses, but you're not interested in talking to me right now, you can go ahead and click the home search button below here. Register on my website. You can look at houses. Email me if you don't want to talk to me. But look, just get in touch with me some way. Because the truth of it is, the sooner that I get involved in a transaction, the more value I can bring to it. And the sooner I get involved in your search, the more value I can bring to it. If you bring me in at the end, there's not a whole lot I can do. Sometimes it's hard to unwind things that you may have inadvertently done. So don't be shy. Reach out. Let's chit chat. All right, let's move on. Okay, median days. Now, look, here's why I really like this slide. I like this for sellers. And I'm going to tell you why. So the median days is how many days it took from a property to go from day one active on the MLS to go to pending sale. So it's taking 49 days to basically go on market, do all the showings, get an offer in hand, have it signed and executed. What this 49 days does not account for is the contract length. So most commonly, let's say you'll have a 45-day contract. It's going to be in 30, 45-day range. Let's just go with a 45-day contract. If our median days are 49 days plus 45 days to close, we're looking at over 3 months from the time you put your property on the market till the time you get to the closing table and get your money into your bank account. So for sellers, this helps give you a realistic idea of of how long it's really going to take without all the fluff of, somebody coming in and telling you your property's going to sell in a week. It happens, but right now, doesn't really happen. I think that's a line of nonsense. Anyways, look, we're up 22% month over month. We're at 40 days up to 49. I'm not going to be surprised if this continues to grow, and I'm going to tell you why. Buyers are getting very choosy right now. They're picking their spots. They're not rushing into offers. And there is a longer negotiation period. That's what I'm seeing on my listings anyways. People throw an offer out there. Generally speaking, it's pretty low. Seller doesn't really want to come around to the offer. 2 or 3 weeks later, they're meeting somewhere on it. And I think that's dragging up the days on market. And I think it'll continue to drag up the days on market, quite frankly. So we'll see how this plays out. But, again, use the information if you're a buyer just by saying, how many, if you're looking at a property that's been on market for 10 days and you want to offer a super low price, I mean, look at the median days. You're probably not going to get away with that. If something's been on the market for 90 days and you want to offer a lower price, you're probably going to have some wiggle room, right? And sellers, just use this to know what the average truly is and how long it'll probably truly take you to close. All right, let's move on. All right, median price per square foot, $365. Let's go back in time here. We're at $333 a foot. Year over year, we are up slightly, right? From 333 to 365, not bad. Look, this chart is pretty orderly, save this one large bump. But most of this has been a pretty orderly chart. Median prices are staying on the high side. I've said this again and again. I'm going to try to say it as briefly as I can, but I want to make sure everybody understands it. There's a reason that median price is on the high side, and that's because when buyers are looking at property, they're not doing the HGTV thing. They don't want to make it their own. They don't want to reno the whole thing. That was 4 or 5 years ago. That was like the big move. Everybody wanted to do it. Now, they want the house that looks like HGTV has already been there and done the renovation for them. They will pay a higher price, and they do not want the headaches. So it makes sense to me that we continue to see median price rising even when the number of properties sold are either stagnating or going down, because again, people will pay for the good stuff. So if your property isn't the good stuff, your choice is either going to be become the HGTV guy and make it the good stuff, or sell it at a discount. I'm not saying sell it at 50% of value. Stop. What I am saying is you're going to have to be realistic based on condition. Okay? Let's continue. Total dollar volume, just like a slow-moving train wreck, right? Let me explain to you why market timing is crucially important when you're a buyer and you're a seller. Here we have an April peak, June. April is down here, but here we are. June, April, March, April. Each time that we've hit those peaks, we've come down, right? This chart looks like it's not orderly. But if you look at the history and you overlay it, is it really that dissimilar? Right? So if we go back to July of last year, we were at 31 million. We're at 32 million. This chart looks ugly. This chart looks brutal. But if you're looking at this chart and you're a seller and you call me today and you say, Casey, I can list today, or I can list in a few months. What do you think? I'm going to tell you, don't list today. Here's why. I want to get you in the market around February, January, February. Because look at what happens. 60 days. What are our median days on market? When do you think the most buyers come in? Right? If you're a buyer and you want to say to me, Casey, I've been watching you, and hey, after New Year, we're going to come and purchase a property. What do you think? What do you think I'm going to tell you? Do you think I'm going to tell you to wait? Nope. You're different than a seller. I want you to get on a plane right now. And I want to make an offer somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas or New Year's. The reason I say to do that is nobody makes offers between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Market's slow. You're a buyer, you can take advantage of it. Are those properties that we see today probably going to be off the market then? Maybe. Maybe not. Is it a good position if you're a buyer right now and you see this trend down another month? And you say, Casey, should I come? You say, yeah, let's go. Let's pick our spots. The deal is, look, use the volume and use the history of it to know when you should pick your spot if you're a buyer or you're a seller. A lot of people don't even look at this stuff and they just willy-nilly throw their property on the market. And it sometimes is reckless and it sometimes can cost you money. And that's what I'm here for is I run my business differently. I run my business based off statistics. I'm not in a rush. I'm going to tell you when I think the best times are. And I'm going to tell you if you're a buyer, get on the plane, man. Let's go. You got to get down here now. And if you're a seller, breathe deep for a little bit. Because let's see what or how this all ties into months of supply. All right. Again, if you are considering selling a property in Jupiter, give me a call, 786-443-7203. Whether you're thinking of selling next week or next year, it's easier for us to start talking sooner so I can help you position the property better. Trust me, it works out a lot better the sooner that we talk. And part of that is going to be, you need an accurate valuation on your property. So call me, email me. My email address is below. Just tell me, hey, Case, can you help me out? Can you give me a value on my property? It's the first thing I got to do, and that's the best place for us to start. And we're going to have a conversation about not only your property, but your building, your community, what things look like surrounding it, velocity of sales, all that kind of good stuff. But get me on board sooner rather than later. It pays dividends down the end. Months of supply of inventory. Now, let's go back to what I was just saying about if you're a buyer, get on the plane now. Look at this months of supply, 5.32 months, okay? We are up 38% year over year. Big amount. You have 38% more choices of properties to look at if you're a buyer. It's a big number. It's a big number. We are down from last month. And if we continue to slide down, it's going to be tougher as a buyer. Now, months of supply of inventory is my favorite of all slides. Supply and demand makes markets. No matter what good you're talking about, supply and demand makes markets. If this continues to come down, this is going to get harder for buyers. Sellers, this is what you really want to see. We want to be back down around 3 months of supply. If we're back down there, listing your property gets much easier. The hard work is up here and higher. So, look, this is super important to pay attention to. 6 months of supply nationally is what they say favors neither buyers nor sellers. You look at this chart. I've gone over this before. 6 months doesn't apply. We've only hit 6 months a couple of times. But this does show you as a buyer, because we have only hit that 6 months a couple of times, these are good times. Down lower here for buyers, not as good. Not as good. So that's why I'm imploring buyers to jump in, and that's going to tie into my final thoughts. All right. Final thoughts. Here we go. Let's talk about interest rates. Interest rates are down about 100 basis points off the peak. The unemployment data, it just got revised and came out, and it was brutal yesterday. And look, the Fed is meeting in 30 days from the date of when this video will probably go out. The only question now is whether they're cutting by 1/4 or 0.5%. There is no, look, the bond market's not waiting for the Fed. The bond market already moved down. The 10 year's moving. So, I think what's going to happen is NerdWallet did this article last week saying, polling buyers, why are you waiting to buy? And 61% said because rates are too high. If you're a buyer and rates tick down, those 61% of the people are coming off the sidelines and into the market, and you're going to be competing with them. Do you think that's the best place for you to be? Do you think a strategy may be, hey, listen, today, if I get out there and I look for properties, knowing that I have the advantage, statistically, I have the advantage right now, versus I'm going to wait until the interest rates come down. I get it. High interest rates suck. Nobody wants to pay more money on interest. My argument isn't that you should just pay a higher interest rate. My argument is, if you wait for the lower interest rate, are you going to be back in a bidding war? In that same property today that you could have had at a discount of $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, are you now going to be bidding against multiple people and now paying that $50,000, $75,000, or $100,000 more because you wanted to save 1% on the interest rate? That may not be a good plan. Again, look, situations are different for every buyer and every seller. Give me a call. Let's go ahead and talk through all the different scenarios. Again, call me sooner rather than later, please. I was just talking with somebody last week. They're not thinking of doing anything for a year. That's fine with me. We can keep in touch for a year. No problem. And hey, if you're local, all the better. Let's get a coffee or a cocktail. Let's have 2 or 3 cocktails, not coffees. Thank you guys for watching. I do truly appreciate it. Once again, reach out to me, 786-443-7203. Let's have a chit chat about the market. Let's see what I can do for you. Thanks everybody again. We'll see you next month.